Margaret gave me an Easter basket.
Really? That she made?
Yeah, well, she just bought stuff and put it in a basket, but yeah, I guess she made it.
You were like, what is this? This isn't homemade.
Yeah, I should have been like, did you make these individually wrapped Reese's peanut butter cups? No? Fuck you. I don't think I tell my kid, fuck you enough.
It's like, when was the last time I told you to go fuck yourself? In a minute, go fuck yourself.
Why don't you fucking kick rocks, a-hole? Swearing and being mean to my daughter.
Yeah. I can imagine being frustrated and like cussing in your head, but like actually like looking at your child and going like, you fucking suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So is your roommate still there or whatever?
Yeah, he finished taking out the really loud thing, which was the bed frame, but I don't know if he's coming back to finish cleaning and paint and stuff. So I don't know. It would have been nice to get like a text heads up or something.
I know, yeah. What if you're like doing naked jumping jacks or something?
Dude, I didn't have a shirt on and like, cause I was like in the middle of laundry stuff at home. And then I just heard like the door fly open. And so I like ran into my room.
Wait, you were doing laundry. You're doing laundry topless?
Well, I was like taking it off to put it in the laundry and then going to go get another one to put on. But he flew the door open and I was like, shit.
That's weird because I'm going to be folding laundry for a little bit. I am not topless as far as you know.
You're like, I don't have pants on.
Free balling it. You can't really get a good fold in your laundry unless there's danger of getting pubes mixed in there.
Well, I mean, my stuff is covered in cat hair, so.
Your clothes or your genitals?
Everything. Everything has cat hair in it. It's just, it's hard when you have 3 cats.
Hey, happy Easter.
Oh, yeah, that's today.
Do you care? No.
No.
My Easter basket contained mostly candy, but then a whoopee cushion.
Nice.
So I got to use it on her, right? That's like the rule.
Yeah. There's no way like celebrating baby Jesus than with a fucking whoopee cushion.
And fake farting. What? Wow.
We love you, baby Jesus.
Dude. You know, that's one of those things that he would probably be more into than the way that people do celebrate him. You know, like, because today's also 420. Oh, and, yeah, I do a stand-up bit about Jesus being a stoner. And beyond just being a favorite bit of mine to do, it's also probably true. You know, did they have weed in the Middle East back then?
Anybody know? Please tell us.
I'm asking you. I know that you're not like that. You don't have a doctorate in theology, but I'm asking you just for the hell of it, I guess.
I love the idea of him just fucking sprinkling some weed in a pipe and smoking it.
Like whenever he was like talking to people and giving the sermons, he was always like, hey, you guys listen up, man. All right, so like, should be nice to each other. Okay, all right. You know, it makes a lot of sense. You know,
I think so. He just seems so chill.
Yeah, he was like an anti-capitalist, weed smoking, hippie, and it's crazy that people like there's churches where they bless guns. So. Well, this is, I guess, going to be kind of an anti-capitalist episode because that's kind of what's going on here. So, right?
When I chose this movie for you for this month for our pick a movie that makes you think of the other person, I chose it because of the Twin Peaks alumni that's in the movie.
Yeah.
And then I haven't seen it in a little while. So when I was watching it, I went, wow, this movie actually is another Kismet thing because it's something that I'm going through right now, personally. Mm-hmm. And then it's what everyone's going through in this country, personally, too, on top of that.
Well, let's do it. Welcome to Earth Full of Popcorn. I am a lapsed Catholic on Easter. Timmy Williams.
And I am Shandi O'Sullivan.
No religious affiliation. Did you ever go to church as a kid? Yeah, we talked about that once.
No, I went to Bible camp one summer just because my parents wanted to get rid of us out of the house.
Wow.
But my parents did not raise us with any religion. My dad was a proclaimed Satanist, Satan worshiper, whatever you want to call it. Had the Satanic Bible, but he didn't like share it with us or was like, I just knew that's what he was into, but they never pressured us into anything. I just knew he mentioned it sometimes in conversation, because he had a music room when I was a kid growing up, and he would just go in there when he'd get off work, and he'd be in there all Friday night, Saturday night from like 8 p.m. until like 4 in the morning. And he would just drink vodka and listen to music in a dark, blacklit room that had animal skulls in it and upside down crosses and shit like that. But I got to go in there and hang out sometimes.
Wow.
So I would go in and sit, and he'd hand me incense to play with because it looked really cool in the dark. And then he'd like show me album covers, and he'd be like, and now this song, and he'd tell me all about the band and the song, and I would just watch him do shot after shot of vodka.
So when I said I'm a lapsed Catholic, which means I grew up that way, and when you get confirmed as a 16-year-old or whatever, then you're still like technically, I don't know what the fuck, I just don't go anymore. And you are Satanism adjacent would be your.
I'm a member of the Satanic Temple.
What's that now? Is that different?
Yeah. It's basically just being a good fucking human being.
Really? How do you get involved in that?
Because I saw recently that they were opening abortion clinics in different parts of the country. Mm-hmm. So, if you're really, because of what's going on right now, it's like, if you need an abortion due to a medical emergency with your child, a lot of women are having to travel out of state because they will be prosecuted or their doctor will be prosecuted. So the Satanic Temple is a religion in the United States of America, and they have temples all over, just like any other religion. And so they go and they talk on, behalf of like when Christians are trying to say, oh, we want to have kids to recite the Bible at school, or like, so that's fine. But like if a kid's Muslim or has a different faith, then they can't do theirs, but they have to recite the Christian Bible. So yeah, they're just awesome. They advocate for you just to be a decent fucking human.
That's good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Are they the ones that like put up a statue, like somewhere they put up a statue, some Jesus statue or the Ten Commandments or something? So then they also put up a statue of like a demon or Baphomet or something like that to challenge the idea, not because they actually like them, but just to challenge that idea.
Yeah, they do stuff like that. But
That's
I really
awesome.
I love the fact that they're like, you know what? We're going to open our own abortion clinics. So you can't fucking say anything. Go fuck yourself.
Not only will having an abortion clinic around piss off people, but having it be an abortion clinic founded by the Satanic Temple. That fucking rules. Because you know what? Who cares? They're not real. Satan's not real. Jesus might have been a guy, but he wasn't magic. He just smoked weed, and God's not real. And if they were real, God, Satan had died a long time ago. So, that's what the Preacher comic says. So sorry.
Well, you know what? We always weirdly segue into the movie by just us chatting. Because what do they say in this movie a lot? Hear no evil, say no evil, speak no evil.
Okay, you said say and speak.
Did I?
Yeah. It's see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
My brain.
Because it's the monkey. Remember, it's the monkeys with the hands over the eyes, hands over the ears, hands over the mouth. Yeah. Well, let's say the movie then. So today we're talking about The People Under the Stairs, written and directed by Wes Craven from 1999. And nope, what the fuck is wrong with me? Let me do that
91.
Again. Yeah, thank you. Today we're talking about The People Under the Stairs from 1991, written and directed by Wes Craven. For April, Shandi and I picked movies for each other that like remind us of the other person. So last time we talked about a crazy cat movie, since Shandy's a crazy cat person. And so what did you pick for me? Why did you pick this?
So I picked The People Under the Stairs for you for two reasons. One is because there's Twin Peaks alumni in the movie, and they're fucking incredible in this. And I know you love Twin Peaks. And two, because it's written and directed by Wes Craven, and he's just he's a classic horror film dude. So,
because you mentioned that yesterday, and I thought about it too, but you brought up yesterday that this is our first Wes Craven movie that we've discussed, yeah. And we haven't really hit on the Masters of Horror very much. This is our first Wes Craven. We've done one Tobe Hooper movie, obviously Texas Chainsaw, and then one Stuart Gordon movie, Reanimator. And a lot of ours have been like by weirdos. Besides that,
we're weirdos.
Yeah, we're weirdos, but I mean, we're talking about like Herc, what's his name, who did Carnival of Souls, or those weird punk rockers who made Body Melt, or the fucking goofball who made Uninvited. So it's interesting. But you try and get away. What I've heard. I have a theory. I have a theory that this is not the only podcast about horror movies hosted by white people. So I was thinking, so when we pick, that's just what I think. It could be wrong. But anyways, so we try and pick stuff that hasn't been talked about 1,000 million times. Except when we really want to talk about it, like Texas Chainsaw. And we should absolutely do Nightmare on Elm Street sometime, that kind of stuff. So.
But it's like, yeah, I agree with you there. I didn't really want to talk about shit that's been talked about a bajillion times before. I want to learn about other movies that I've never seen and discover new things. Because it's fun.
It is fun. And I'll tell you what. Yesterday I did another podcast. Sorry. It's not like a cheating thing. Maybe. I don't know. It was a one night stand. I was just a guest. Anyways, so whatever. Okay, so but shout out to the old Switcheroo. That was a fun podcast about video games. But the two guys are also big movie people. And one of them told me to tell you that he loved what you talked about with Eraserhead, because this guy said, my wife is a huge David Lynch fan, and so, by association, he's seen a lot of his work too. And they said that they'd seen Eraserhead a bunch, but had never thought about the whole post-apocalyptic possibility until you brought it up. So there you go.
Cool.
And then it goes on.
Thanks.
Then I at some point called myself dumb, which I do that all the time, or stupid, or, whatever. They're like, well, you're not dumb. And then they said they like Earful of Popcorn because they wanted to hear smart people talking about movies.
What?
And I was like, there's another podcast called Earful of Popcorn?
What smart people?
Who are these smart fuckers, huh? Track them down. Listen, me and my pal Shandi are dumb as fuck, and we're not going to let people try and insinuate that we have brains, okay?
Did you go, how dare you call us that?
Excuse me, sir! Sir, I am offended. And then I slapped him in the face with my glove, and now we got a duel tomorrow.
Oh, that's really nice, though. Thanks.
I know, it's not, people are nice. But yeah, and I love that you picked that for me, because, when I picked the cat lady, or looked for a cat movie for you, it wasn't because haha, cat lady, but it's like, I mean, kind of, you know what I mean? But it was just like, she loves cats. We could talk about cats, and here you go, But you based this off of something I actually like, which is, like I said, Twin Peaks. And you know what I realized about Twin Peaks is, so I first got into Twin Peaks in 2015-ish. And as you know, I just recently finished watching it all the way through again. And the old series, the movie, Fire Walk With Me, and the newer series, The Return. I just recently got finished watching it all again with my daughter. That marks about the 5th time that I've been through it all the way. And then I realized, oh shit, I've watched it all the way through 5 times in 10 years? That's a lot.
Well, because it's good.
It is good. Well, and The Return came out in 2017, so really 8 years. I mean, maybe I've only seen that one 4 times, but still, it's like, wow. So, And I know that you've seen it, but it's been a while, right? And I think you said you never watched season 3, or you watched part of it and don't remember or something?
I just finished it last year.
Okay.
Yeah. But I haven't seen it all of it all the way through in a while.
Okay.
That's something I need to revisit for sure.
It's way worth it. And this is something I've never expected to be a super huge nerd about, but I am now, and whatever. I need a Twin Peaks tattoo is the next step, I guess. But, and my daughter and I want to go, she wants to go to the convention some year, because they always get, like, McLaughlin or somebody else to go. So, anyway, so People Under the Stairs was made right around the time that they stopped making Twin Peaks, like 1990, and the movie came out in 91. And so Everett McGill and Wendy Roby, who on Twin Peaks played Ed and Nadine Hurley, are the villains in this movie. And do they ever give them real names?
Whoa.
I don't think so.
They don't.
I think they're named. I'm not even looking at the credits. I should look at the credits and see. But as far as I know, they're just Mommy and Daddy. So I think is what they get named.
Mommy and Daddy.
Yeah, because they call each other that quite a bit.
That's what I wrote in my notes whenever I referred to them. Was
yeah, sure.
Mommy or Daddy.
I called them just their Twin Peaks names. Okay, when I look it up on Wikipedia, it says their names are Eldon Robeson and that Wendy Roby plays Mrs. Robeson. But I know that the grandpa tells the main character, Fool, at some point that it's the Robesons, but they never really... I don't know if they say their names. And then their relationship is never even all the way clear because, of course, it seems like they're married at first.
They just terrify me.
Yeah, they're so scary. And the grandpa says that they're brother and sister. And then they sometimes almost have a mother and son dynamic. And then sometimes it's almost like she's a boss and he's her employee dynamic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what kind of is scary about them, too, is that just the way they behave towards each other is like some weird, like she's like a dominatrix.
Yeah.
And he's like this BDSM dude.
Yeah.
Or she's very controlling of him, but then he just fucking loses his shit a lot in this movie.
Right, he does. And he's very good at it. And you know what? Yeah. Twin Peaks is, and I don't want to get too spoilery for Twin Peaks because people still get all uptight about it, but Twin Peaks does have several storylines and does spend a lot of time on the ideas of having an evil twin. And it's interesting to think about. Of course, this is not related at all. And I'm sure they got the roles they did just because Wes Craven saw their chemistry on Twin Peaks, would be my guess. However, these two characters they're playing, Mommy and Daddy, whatever, you could almost see them as the evil twins of their characters of Twin Peaks. Because in that one, for a while, Wendy Roby's character, who plays Everett's wife, is controlling of him, but she's still like sweet and means well. And so, and these are, and he's like a pretty chill guy in Twin Peaks. So to have the flip side where here Everett McGill is fucking, they both are. They both are amazing in this movie. Everett McGill, I was trying to figure out like who had more fun making this. And I feel like Everett McGill probably did, but they all had fun is what it seems like. But he's running around in a fucking gimp suit, like with a combat shotgun, screaming about hell. It's like, it's amazing, It's great.
My favorite thing that he yells, I just will say it in my head every once in a while. I go, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, towards the end. Oh my God. Is that after they kill his dog? It's right around then. I can't remember if it's before or after, but yeah, that was
He sticks his head through the wall a lot and sticks his head into shit and screams.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's really funny.
You know what? So basically, after the point where they kill Ving Rhames' character, which is a little bit before halfway through the movie, after that point, when the shoe drops and I've killed this guy, pretty much everything either one of those two characters says after that is gold. Like, everything. It's like
everything.
All fucking good. It's like I wrote you. It's like, you picked this movie because of me liking Twin Peaks. And then also, like you said, wow, it had this weird kismet kind of thing where it's also about shitty landlords, which you're dealing with in real life. Then also there's a line Wendy Roby says that is the exact halfway point in the movie, where she goes, heavy spring cleaning, And they're talking about
And it's springtime.
Yeah, and it's springtime right now. And they're, good, because I forget that sometimes people can listen to this at other seasons. So thank you for taking care of that. But, yeah, she says, Total spring cleaning. That's what it is. Yeah. So,
Man,
this
movie has such like a great juxtaposition too with the two of them and their family, and then Fool's family. Because it starts off in the hood with this kid and his family, and rap music's playing, and then they are dressed like they're from like they're still in the 1950s.
Definitely. Yeah.
And their house has all the same 1950s type furniture, and they're definitely both racist. They say some questionable shit in this movie, or they almost say it.
Well, no, he says it at the beginning. Because I had subtitles on, and there it is. He says it's one of the first things ever McGill says. He shows it's after Ving Rhames reveals to Fool, the kid, the main character, that they figured they stole a letter from the back of the liquor store because they found out that the owner of the liquor store is also their landlord. And so they stole this letter that was addressed to him because it had his address on it. And the letter was from some coin company that was telling him they want to buy his coin collection. So then a little bit later, Everett McGill's character comes home and says to Wendy Roby, some insert horrible word there, robbed the liquor store. And he says it straight up. So, and then, later she almost says it and then gets hit in the face or something. This is good.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they're terrible. And so, a lot of this is definitely something you could see as a metaphor for racial injustice, social injustice, economic injustice, all sorts of stuff like that. They have like a lot of weird security measures in their house, and also, yes, they're kind of keeping it as this 50s thing, and isolating themselves from the community. So it's like, and she even says at the end, "This is not a community." And what do you think she means by that? She means because you're all black people. I mean, and poor. That's what I think she means.
Man, that house is rigged to the gills.
Yeah.
The fucking intercom system.
It's like a 1991 version of a smart home.
I feel like their house is almost like playing a video game. Like,
definitely.
Did you ever play that game Maniac Mansion on Nintendo?
I know, but I know what it is.
So Maniac Mansion was like you were this group of kids outside of a mansion, and you had to go try to save your girlfriend out of it because she got kidnapped. But it's all click and scroll. So you would like click the character that you wanted to choose, and then you had to jump to the next screen and click where you wanted them to go, and then they would move slowly across the screen. It was one of those games.
Maniac Mansion was one of the first of those. Monkey... Oh, those great games. Monkey Island, I think it's called, was amazing like that. And then there's another one like Maniac Mansion that I did play a little bit. I think Day of the Tentacle. But yes, George Lucas's video game company, I don't know if they made Maniac Mansion, but they got into that point-and-click style adventure game hardcore. So you played it.
Yeah, and it was really hard. And it came with a huge poster, too, that had clues on it that you could try to decipher.
Oh, wow.
This house kind of reminds me of that because there's like hidden things.
Sure.
Like when the stairs turn into a ramp.
Yeah. So awesome.
And then just hidden shit everywhere. Like when he had the gun ammo room.
Yeah. Where he puts all his bondage shit in the gun ammo room at the end when the cops are coming.
And just like the different rooms are just fucking insane.
Yeah, there's like normal rooms, and then there's like a room they don't even really, you just see them go in it at one point, but they're only in it for a little bit. But there's a room that's all like religious pictures and candles and stuff. It's like shrines.
Oh, I figured out what that is though. It never even clicked until last night. So when Grandpa says, like when you figure out that like they were stealing the children, those are all Polaroids of all the kids they stole.
Holy shit, yeah, wow. Yikes.
I was like, because they don't show it for that long. And then this time I was like, what are those? And so I kind of went back a little bit. There's like a photo of Ronald Reagan.
They kidnapped Ronald Reagan? Oh.
Yeah. And then all those candles. And then it was just a bunch of photos of all these boys.
Yeah.
But then some of their faces looked like they were scratched out. So
which means they killed him, probably.
Well, because when Alice is telling Fool about the people under the stairs, she's like, oh, they're looking for the perfect boy child.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that if they weren't perfect, they would cut out the bad parts. And then I went, so they're probably scratching out the photos when they ended up having to throw them in the basement.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
like, this one did it. Fuck this one. Almost like Xing out their face. I was like, ugh. Because I love that shit in movies when there's those little details. Even though you don't see them, like sometimes they're really quick and you might, I guess you call those Easter eggs. Is that what you call Easter egg?
Nah, I don't know. I wouldn't call them Easter eggs because that term gets way overused now. Anytime there's something that someone notices, it's not an Easter egg. It's just a detail. You know what I mean? Okay. And if you're catching the details, then great. An Easter egg is like if I'm making a Captain America movie and there's a part where he walks by graffiti of the Batman symbol. I would call that an Easter egg. You know what I mean? But here you're just talking about a detail of the plot that's something you could catch on multiple viewings, So that's great. That's awesome that you noticed that.
That was cool.
How many times have you seen this movie? A lot?
It's got to be over 50 times.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, this was like, I was 9 when this came out, and it fucking scared the shit out of me, but I also cry at the end. I still teared up at the end of this one, even though I've seen it that many times. But because of Roach. Roach is one of my favorite characters in a movie ever. Yeah.
He dies in the middle. There's still, I forgot about that because this is only my second time watching it. He dies only a little bit over halfway through.
I know, and he was helping them.
Yeah, he's such a sweet boy. And Roach is one of the people under the stairs who, like Shandi said, these awful people for generations, we assume, have been taking boys and trying to find the perfect son. And they have a daughter that's not really a daughter, named Alice. So you assume they found this girl, found quote-unquote the perfect girl, keep trying to find the perfect boy. But of course, boys are fucking annoying and loud. And so they can't find a perfect one. So they cut out their tongue, cut out their ears, whatever, mutilate them, throw them downstairs. And Roach is one that escaped their cellar prison and lives in the walls, which is awesome.
It's so awesome. He has his little house with the little Christmas lights.
Yeah, it's like every Brooklynite's apartment in 2005, right? Christmas lights. You had them right in your bedroom, I think. I probably did. You know what I mean? So yeah,
I did.
Roach is played by Sean Whalen. And Sean Whalen is definitely that guy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A character actor. And this is his first movie, but you know what? I always forget when I look him up. I always forget. One thing he's most famous for is he is in the very first Got Milk commercial. And yeah, and you probably remember this. First of all, it was directed by Michael Bay. And he plays this history buff who's eating a peanut butter sandwich and listening to the radio. There's some sort of cash prize. On the radio says we're going to give you some sort of cash prize if someone can call in and tell us who shot Alexander Hamilton. And then you see this guy's room, and it's filled with information about Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. The guy's obsessed. And so he knows the answer. But he's got this mouthful of peanut butter sandwich. He's like, and so he doesn't get it because he can't talk. And then they're like, got milk? Because, yeah, if he had drank a glass of milk, he would have been able to say the answer and win the prize. So, and it's kind of funny just saying it out loud now, holy shit. Well, right before he made that commercial, he made this movie where he was a guy that couldn't talk. Weird, right?
Coincidence?
Maybe. I mean, Michael Bay, so not a lot of thought. Anyways.
Dude, when you first see his hand come out of the wall to give Alice the fork, his hand looks so creepy and his nails are all fucked up. I still remember when I first watched this and I went, oh my fucking God, what is that? But then realizing, because I was a kid when I saw this, so I was like, oh, he's helping her. Because you can tell she's fucking terrified of these people. And also, that actress, she will play in one of my favorite TV shows, My So-Called Life. She was one of the main characters in that show.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But I forget her name.
Well, I just looked it up. A.J. Langer, is what she
There
goes
we
by.
go.
Alison Joy Langer. Now, when you click on her Wikipedia article, it says the Right Honorable Countess of Devon. So, so she's married to Charles Courtney and Earl. And she's from Ohio. She's just some American lady, but she's a little bit older than us. She's 50. But she married this guy, so she's a countess. That's funny because there's another classic horror movie actor that also happened to, Jamie Lee Curtis, and her husband is Christopher Guest, and Christopher Guest is technically like a duke or something like that.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah,
That's crazy.
You can see somewhere it's listed that it's like, oh yeah, he's a baron, so she's a baroness.
Cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's funny that happened to more than one person, and also Grace Kelly, a famous Golden Age Hollywood actress, goddamn fucking one of the best looking people who ever lived. She was perfect looking, so pretty. Anyway, she was a princess too. She married some guy who was a prince. So we got off track. Imagine that. But you were talking about watching this as a kid and figuring out that Roach was her friend.
Yeah, I go, oh, that's a really scary fucking hand. But, he's helping her because, oh man, she's going to get in trouble. She's going to get in trouble if she doesn't give this lady that fork. And then you realize, oh, these people are smart. They're like, oh, she's getting influenced by the thing in the wall again. That scene still fucking freaks me out because she says to him, you're like, oh, fuck, she's in trouble now. He's like wrapping the belt around his hand and she goes, remember, not the face.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's about to fucking punch her.
Yeah. Like beat her.
They don't show it, but then
no.
you see the bruises on her arms later, and you're like, Jesus.
And I assume she doesn't want him to hit her in the face because if people come over or something, right? But or you know what? Because they don't let her out of the house, so maybe they're not worried about other people seeing her. But the mommy and daddy characters, especially mommy, has this delusion that this girl is their daughter. And I think if she sees bruises on her face, that'll ruin the whole fucking kind of fantasy, the role play. I bet
it'll
that's
break that illusion. Yeah.
It's like, oh no, now I'm remembering she's a hostage. So.
Jesus.
Do you think they could do a sequel about her called The Person Over the Stairs? So stupid. Anyways. What I like about this house is that it is a character in the movie.
Yes, it is. That house, like when you said he must have had, who had the most fun making this, it just must have just been fun to shoot in that house with all that stuff.
Oh, you know what the answer probably is? To who had the most fun doing this? The answer is probably the set designer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's probably the real answer. Because fucking A.
Having Fool dress up as a Kid Scout to go, quote, scout the house.
I didn't even put that
made
together.
me laugh.
That's funny.
But yeah, this house is uber fucking creepy. You mean you got locks on the windows on the outside? And then they have that shelf that moves in that front room that they go into. When Grandpa talked about how their family was in the funeral business.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing things in the house that are like the embalming room. And then you're like, oh, that's why there's all the dead flowers everywhere and parts of stone, like headstones.
Yeah,
and
Fool
things.
finds that earlier, but it's just like, why the fuck do they have that? And then his grandpa says that it's, so it's cool. Yeah, it's like you said with the pictures, it kind of like, like we always say, they don't tell you too much, which is nice. And then if you look a little further into it, there's a few answers here and there if you need them, which is very cool. I also think this family is very old, probably even maybe Civil War era, which is why they have all that gold. I don't know, but they have a vault full of gold coins, and that's why Fool even goes there. He gets recruited to scout the house by Ving Rhames, playing a guy named Leroy in one of his very first big roles. And what is Ving's relationship to him? Is he dating the sister or something, or is he just some guy that's around, like a friend of theirs?
I felt like he's both. Like he either like dated his sister or is dating her, but he's just a fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
The whole time. The whole time. He's the one that like says out loud that his mom has cancer and he didn't even know, and this like being a fucking asshole. Such a dick.
I see why you would say that. However, he's also a case of, he's a classic case of asshole character who is right about everything. And because these people should be stolen from. You know, he's almost like he almost like stands for the solution to this whole late stage capitalism bullshit, where the rich have everything and everyone else has nothing. You know, but yes, he is a dickhead because of the cancer thing. And then of course at the very end, before he dies, he screws the kid over and doesn't let him hide with him. He's like, no, you go hide in your own spot.
God,
like, what a fucker.
What an asshole.
But there's a big chunk there in the middle where, like, I don't know, he is sticking up for Fool and stuff, but he is, you know, it's maybe not even that he's an asshole. To me, he's very cynical. And he has every right to be cynical because he's presumably grown up a black poor person in this ghetto kind of area and he just had to turn to a life of crime, whatever, to get by. And then he kind of says that at the beginning. And so he is super cynical, which I think is why he's like, yeah, your mom has cancer, you know, because he's just like, has no decorum anymore, has no social skills like that. He's just like, all he cares about is surviving, and this kid needs to know this so that he will help him go get money, you know?
Now that you say that, it does motivate this kid and kind of it ends up saving his life. A lot of things that he says to Fool, where he's like, you know, I don't think you'll be able to handle this stuff, you know, because he, like, Fool will say that, and then you see the shit that Fool does, and you're like, that kid's got some fucking balls.
Yeah. Well, and he like picks a lock or something. So he's like, oh, I know how to do this, you know? Well, I'm sure it's Leroy that taught him how to, like, at the end when he like takes the wires and hijacks that door open, like hacks it open. I'm sure he learned it from Ving Rhames' character, you know?
I also, it always passes me by too that Fool mentions that it's his birthday.
Oh yeah,
that day,
right.
And he's turning 13.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's probably bad luck. Something bad's going to happen.
Yeah, and speaking of that, the movie starts with tarot reading. Like, the first thing you see is tarot cards. And he calls tarot cards, which I love. But his sister is reading his tarot fortune, whatever you want to say. And, you know, and she says he's like the Fool. And basically... kind of foresees the ending, the last act of the movie, because basically on the card of the Fool, it's like, it's either going to fall off this cliff, or if he backs up to exit the cliff, is going to run into the sun. And so at the ending, it's kind of like that, because Fool's choice, he does escape from the house at one point. And so it's either stay here, and yeah, we have some coins to pay the rent, but we're eventually going to get fucked by these landlords anyways. You know what's going to happen. And so his choices are that, or I'm going to go back into their awful, dangerous house and confront them and and save this girl, because I told her I would. So it's kind of, he's faced with fucked if, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing, you know? Like,
knowing what goes on in that house is like, I can't leave her there.
Yeah. Because they're abusing this girl, and he calls the cops and just child services and whatever to say I'd like to report some child abuse, and... You know, mommy and daddy, and actually on IFC they're credited, or IFC, on IMDb they're credited as man and woman. So man and woman are, they know, I mean, their family's been doing this shit for years. So they've probably been trained by their parents, who trained by their parents, yada, yada, about how to, you know, how to hide everything and how to keep your secrets and how to keep going. So, you know, so the cops come and they don't see anything, you know, so... But yeah, so he uses that as a distraction to get in the house, but so he still decides to go back. So he's kind of fucked either way. But yeah, it's, so yeah, you know, because the 13 bad luck thing is mentioned in the beginning too, and then the tarot thing. So that's definitely, I don't know if there was much of a reason to that stuff being mentioned, but it's definitely some sort of theme, you know, I would say.
I guess so. trying to think, like, because coins are usually used in like luck,
Yeah, good call. I didn't even think of
like
that.
the flip of a coin. Mm-hmm. I really love at the end when he puts the coins into the candles, and then they're slowly dropping to kind of catch him off guard. That was cool.
Yeah. I at that point I said, you know what? I love all the traps and tricks in this movie because the house is trapped. There's like a spike trap. There's the collapsing staircase that you mentioned and stuff like that. But also when he breaks back into the house, he hears Daddy and Mommy talking about saying their prayers as he's sneaking around trying to save this girl. And so he hears them saying the prayers, and when he gets up close to the door, he realizes, oh shit, this is a tape recording that they used to trick me. And then Daddy jumps
like,
up behind
no.
him. Yeah.
Oh no, they know he's there.
Yeah,
No.
and then shortly after that, he does the coins in the candle thing to make it sound like he's sitting in the vault counting coins when he's not. So it's awesome. There's so much. This movie is extremely badass, I thought. Just so many badass ideas. And there's movies that I want to mention at some point that I would double feature with this or triple feature even, but I don't think there's any movie like this.
No, I don't think so either. And sometimes I forget, like, this is a Wes Craven film.
Yeah.
But then when they get down to, like, when there's the boiler room, then I'm like, oh, yeah, Wes Craven, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Definitely.
He likes him some boiler rooms, and he likes him some basements.
Well, and also he doesn't mind referencing himself, because my daughter and I just watched Scream the other day, where Wes has a cameo playing the janitor of the high school named Fred, who's dressed like Freddy Krueger. And Wes Craven directed Scream, obviously. So yeah, he loves that kind of shit. Which he should. You know what? I like it when a director or anybody like that who's has a vision, a real artist or genius or whatever you want to say, because he would fit all those. When they acknowledge their importance and how fucking cool they are without being like shitty about it. You know, Lynch did that too. Especially when David Lynch put himself he's like one of the stars of Twin Peaks The Return. He kind of made his character a big deal in it. But, you know, like, fuck it, why not? And so Wes Craven kind of does the same thing a little bit, and it's awesome. And yeah, it is, I would say it's recognizable as a Wes Craven movie because of the social aspect, because that's something he's always been interested in. And, you know, the only Nightmare on Elm Street sequel, or movies he did was the first one, and, well, I guess technically the last one, New Nightmare. And, you know, he wasn't really interested in just like the sequelization of like, oh, here's Freddy doing more stuff. But he wanted to say something. And, you know, the first one he was kind of talking about like the sinister undertones in a idyllic suburban neighborhood, which, you know, we always do the roundabout thing. But obviously that's what David Lynch made him interested in Twin Peaks. So, you know, similar idea there. But, and then obviously People Under the Stairs. It was about, like I said, different kinds of injustice. And then New Nightmare was about when you're a creator and you have something very popular, how it's hard for you to get away from it. It was kind of what that movie's about, you know. So
yeah, and like actual real shit was happening to the main actress and her real life while they were filming that shit. So it made it even more scarier. It's terrifying.
Wait, when they were okay, how many layers are we talking about here? You're talking about how the story of New Nightmare is how the actors from the Nightmare on Elm Street series get in trouble with Freddy in real life now. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you saying when they made that movie about a movie that they actually had problems in real life on the set too?
Well, she had a real life stalker in real life during that time when she was filming that movie.
Heather Langenkamp did. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think there's a small documentary about it. And so, and she almost stopped making that movie because she was like, this is too close to like home of what's happening in my real life.
So when because I don't know much, I buy all these Blu-rays and stuff, and I don't often remember to watch the behind the scenes stuff, but so I'm sure it's mentioned in somewhere on there. But so when he wrote the script, because in the script she's dealing with that kind of stuff in the beginning. So did he write that based on her life, or he just happened? That's just a weird coincidence.
It was a coincidence.
Oh, that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Why'd we start talking about Wes Craven being a genius? But yeah, it is scary. We were talking about how he's kind of maybe references himself here and there, like because with the basement and the boiler room and stuff. Oh, yeah.
There's some really good shots in this movie too. There is a shot when Fool and Leroy first make it past that first room past the sliding bookshelf room. And then there's like a shot from above. And I realized that's Roach's point of view. That's his shot.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh, because then Leroy sees like the dust falling. And he's like, oh, it's nice to know rich people got rats too. And I'm like, no, that's Roach.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I knew that because of the scurrying and stuff, but I didn't know that was that you were seeing his point of view. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of scurrying sounds in the movie. And it's just crazy that he lives in the walls. And did you ever, I mean, you've lived in New York for a very long time now. Have you dealt with animals in the walls at all?
I've had mice here and there, but generally I find them dead. I do have cats, so there's that. Had a really, really bad roach. Speaking of roaches.
Oh, really?
I had a roach infestation in this apartment for about 5 years, and it was really, really bad at one point where I would flip on the kitchen lights and there were hundreds.
Oh, you serious? Oh my God.
Yeah, it was really bad. I probably still have video on one of my phones somewhere of it.
Never show it to me, please.
But what a great thing to call a character that lives in the wall.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably why, you know?
That's perfect.
And there's a great interaction when Fool first officially meets him. Alice introduces Fool to Roach and is like, hey, this guy's your friend. And then Fool figures out that he's his friend. And he's like, my name is Poindexter, but they call me Fool. And he's like, what does he say to Roach? He's like, we got a couple of crazy names or something like that. And I just love that little moment of their being friends, you know? It's like monster and kid, black person, white person, all these different kinds of things that they are, and they're getting along because of their situation, and I like that.
There's some good moments like that. When he first meets Alice and he shakes her hand and she kind of looks at him like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then he's like, have you ever seen a brother before? And she's like, yeah. What does she say? She's like, I don't have any brothers.
Yeah, I don't have any brothers.
And he's like, no, a black person. She's like, no.
Yeah.
I love the shot on her face when she sees outside for the first time.
Yeah, towards the end.
Her face is so just sweet. Mm-hmm. And then she gets so scared because she's like, I don't know what the fuck is out there. She's terrified. Poor thing. And I love that they make her and Roach's and all the kids' faces look really, really pale because they've never been outside in the sun.
Outside. And some of the people under the stairs characters even look kind of misshapen or mutated in some way, probably because growing up in a basement only eating fucking raw flesh or whatever they're being fed.
I love that you said the word mutated because that was the other main thing that I fucking noticed last night that I went, what? When Daddy is downstairs looking for Fool because he's hearing the coins fall off the candles, he's going around the room where there's all the money, but then for a minute he's by a side room and it's these shelves that are brightly lit and there's the lab kind of flasks with liquids and shit in it. I was like, oh my God, are they also experimenting on the kids? Because there's a shot where you see all the kids and one kid kind of looks like Wolfman.
Yeah, that could be it. I also thought that possibly those could just be where they're keeping the tongues and the ears and stuff that they cut off.
Jesus.
Preserving them. But it's probably means both.
Oh God!
You know what I mean?
What the fuck?
Yeah. So, yeah,
people.
Well, and it's just like I said, there's so much metaphor you can get out of this, and it's the rich literally taking from the poor to live off them and feed off them. So he's feeding their Vingrace's body to the people under the stairs, but also they're literally taking parts of us to to increase their own wealth, or to keep their own wealth.
There's some really scary moments in this movie when he's got Fool chained up and making him watch him fillet Leroy's body and he's fucking eating it and got blood all over his face. Still freaks me out. I'm like, that is such a fucked up thing to do to a kid.
Yeah, it's and then he shows him the pit where the guy is and all that stuff, but yeah.
Oh, the nasty pit. Can you imagine the smell down there? I was thinking that last night while I was watching this. I was like, so you have all these kids down here that are eating body parts.
With no toilet.
No toilet, so they're pissing and shitting everywhere. And then you have that nasty pit. Oh, God. Oh, I can't. The smell. So gross.
Because there's a scene, at some point, he's up in the, like, he's with Ving Rhames, and I can't remember what floor they're on, but they're not in the basement. They're on probably the first floor, and one of them, I forget who says it, but one of them says, someone around here needs to take a bath, because that smell is emanating through, like, the entire house.
Oh, that's right, he does say that.
You know, and,
Gross.
yeah. I didn't make it up. But, yeah. So here's the weird thing. So mommy and daddy are just fucking cool with it, or what? You know what I mean? You know it smells even on the third floor wherever they're at, you know?
It's that thing where, like, you don't smell your own stink. You just get, like, so used to the smell. But maybe that's why they have all the funeral flowers.
Yeah, and candles everywhere.
Smell. Yeah.
Because candles can cover the smell, too. Okay, yeah. I like all that. That's a good idea. Another thing I wanted to talk about with this, is, especially the way they treat the little girl Alice, is, you know, mommy and daddy keep referencing, kind of alluding to, she's with that boy, meaning Fool, and they kind of seem to be worried that the two are having sex or something, or that they've started a relationship, sort of, is kind of what they seem to be concerned about. And there is that, especially with fucking, you know, rich white people, there's this weird sexual ownership over their daughters. And I felt like that definitely was in play here too, you know?
There's a really fucking creepy shot when Alice is chained up and daddy comes in his BDS outfit.
Oh my God, yeah.
And he grabs his fucking crotch.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Oh my God.
And then mommy's like, Daddy, it's time for bed. And he's like, I'm like, oh my God. So he's probably been raping her.
Yeah, probably. Well, I mean, at the beginning, when he puts the belt around his hand, the thing you're talking about, it could be that too. Who the hell knows? Because what does he say right before that? He's like, I'm very tense and I need to let out some steam or something like that. So, you know. And even if that's not happening, even if there's no rape or molestation happening, there's still this thing that does happen all the time in real life, especially with a dad of a daughter, where they're not just their kid, they kind of act like they fucking own their vagina. You know what I mean? And my favorite / least favorite example of this is when you see an engagement photo. And it's a bride and groom, right? When the girl is marrying a man. And so they put out an engagement photo. And every once in a while, you see on the internet an engagement photo where it's the girl and the boy, and in the background or on the side or somewhere is the girl's dad holding a gun. And it's like, ha, funny joke. And the message there is so fucking wrong and weird to me. And, you know, it's like, I want to defend my daughter's pussy. It's like, why do you care about that at all? Except protecting her, obviously, as a young person. But now she's old enough to choose someone to marry and to go have sex with them. They've probably already boned a bunch. It's modern times, man. People don't wait till they're married anymore. So, like, what? You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's very strange and weird, and people just like accept it as like a haha funny thing when it's like it's fucking creepy. It's pederast behavior. It's fucking inbreeding behavior. You know?
Yeah, I had that thought a couple times too. When in the beginning, like the first couple times I saw this movie, where I was like, before you find out that they've stolen the kids, I thought they were brother and sister, and all these kids were like their inbred children.
Sure.
And that's why they were all deformed and shit, and why they can never find a perfect one. Because what happens when you combine like similar fucking DNA is like deformities happen.
Yeah.
None of these kids are theirs. Jesus.
Either way, these kids' lives are horrible. And what's interesting, though, is even though, they say, like, they're brother and sister, none of these kids are their kids, you know, it's never 100% said that that's what's going on. So you could be right about some of that. Maybe some of the kids down there are their fucking weird inbred mutant kids. You know what I mean? There could totally be that. And I didn't even think of that while I was watching it. So good point there. And by the way, this is only my second time watching it. The first time I saw it was barely a year ago, I think. So one thing I thought of while watching it was like, wow, I would double feature this with Barbarian.
Oh, hell yeah.
There's a lot of similarities. And not in a like Zach ripped this off way, but in like similar themes and similar kind, house with secret things in it and weirdos in the basement and some sort of patriarchal figure that is doing something horrible to the other people. You know what I mean? So there's a lot there. I feel like it would be a fun thing to double feature. Also, you could double feature this movie with Do the Right Thing.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever watched? You've seen Do the Right Thing, right? Spike Lee?
Only once. That's another
wow.
movie I need to see again.
It takes place in Brooklyn, hottest day of the year, and it's pretty much all about racial injustice. It's kind of a hangout movie until it isn't, and then it becomes a very sad statement about racial injustice. And how far did you get into the credits this time? Did you watch them?
I watched part of them, I think,
Okay.
and then it was getting late, and I was like, I gotta go to bed.
See, this is why we're great. I love that you're like that, because I'm absolutely not. But also, I watched the whole thing. And you know why? Because of fucking Nick Fury. Because of the first Iron Man movie in 2008. Made me understand that there's after credit scenes. And you know what? When I watch an older movie, sometimes they have them, and I never knew. Wayne's World has some, So, Ferris Bueller.
This is what, episode 17 of us doing this podcast, and how many times do you ask me if I watched the credits? I think I said one
Yeah,
time.
I've got my fingers and toes crossed for 25. You'll be like, I've started doing it all the time.
You think I would just fucking dedicate myself to doing it, but I still go,
it's like,
sleep.
That's 4 minutes I can't lose. But so I had the subtitles on for this one too. And so at the end of the movie, after the bad guys are beaten, and Alice goes up to Fool and is like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah." I can't remember what exactly he says. Yeah, pretty good. But then, so a song kicks in. And since I had the subtitles on, it says the song. Okay, first of all, I'll say the title of the song first. The song is called Do the Right Thing. And it plays, and it's not based on the movie. It's not based on the movie Do the Right Thing. I believe it was written for this movie because, it's the 90s. And like we said in the last episode, the 90s loved having rap songs that were made for the movie. And I don't think Do the Right Thing talks literally about like, there's people under the stairs and nobody cares, nothing like that. But which would be great, but it's not there. But I believe it was written there because the other thing about these after credits rap songs in the 90s is they're always by an artist that you've never heard of before. The Ninja Turtles one from the first Turtles movie was by Partners in Crime, spelled Kryme. You know what I mean? And then when they had money for part 2, they got Vanilla Ice. But anyway, so this one, the song that plays over the last few seconds of the movie and into the credits, Do the Right Thing by Redhead Kingpin and the FBI. But it fits, like the whole, even the fact that the FBI is in their name fits. Obviously, the name of the song fits because it's this kid did the right thing, but also for anyone who's familiar with the movies, I mean, Do the Right Thing in this definitely have some parallels, So it's kind of cool. But I mean, it's from what I can remember, it's not a good song. And I say from what I can remember, having finished the movie 2 hours ago. So, okay, you were talking about Maniac Mansion, which, by the way, is made by LucasArts. So George Lucas's game company basically invented that genre of the point-and-click thing. Okay, so that's similar, but then you mentioning that made me realize, you know what else this could double feature with? The Burbs.
The Burbs.
Right?
That movie's so fun.
You know what? The Burbs and People Under the Stairs are both movies I bought my last girlfriend before we broke up. That's weird. I just remembered that. And maybe she's just into creepy house movies, which, cool. Like, it's a good thing to be into, So there's a lot of great creepy house movies. But, yeah, weird. Weird side thought. Who cares? But, you know what I mean? They're kind of similar. I haven't seen The Burbs in a long time, but, there's the whole weirdo neighbor we got to find out. Is that horror enough for us to watch? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? We should do a month as PG horror movies.
I mean, the last movie we watched didn't have any boobs in it.
Yeah, but it was real bloody and had swearing.
Yeah, that's true.
So they
but it was really funny.
Oh, yeah, it was really funny. I mean, literally, PG horror, though,
Yeah, why not?
When you look up the Burbs, it says horror/mystery as a genre, so why not? But yeah,
Okay.
there might be another fun one like that to watch. Anyways, sequel idea: People Under the Stairs versus Nightbreed. Because, like you said, some of these look like mutants, and yeah, some of them look like Nightbreed people a little bit. So yeah.
They did. Is it weird that I thought that the one teenage boy with the blonde hair that was super, super helpful at the end is a little attractive?
Yeah, well, you know what? Well, yeah, okay, first, yes, it is weird. But when he jumps up through the hole, he's got sweatpants on, and I'm pretty sure you see kind of a big dick bulge. But I could be wrong.
I didn't notice that. I'm going to have to watch it again.
Yeah, oh my God. Shannon's going to get all hot and bothered by Mutant Boy. But you know what? I'm sorry. I don't kink shame, so I apologize. If that's what you're into, that's what you're into. As long as whatever happens between you and these mutant understairs people is consensual and they're adults, then fine. Go for it.
Yeah.
In fact, weird. Okay, we're always doing this. Like, holy shit, that actually brings me to a point I wrote down that I wanted to make is like when the sister shows up at the end to help out and to tell these landlords, fuck you, and she brings like the whole neighborhood with her, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. She and the mutants get out. She's like, now you can go, back to your lives and to girls. And I was like, whoa, okay, hold on. These guys are probably all nice people, but they've also like become kind of crazy cannibals. Like, let's not immediately suggest they go dating. You know what I mean?
The ending of this movie to me is kind of funny because they just leave and they just are finding their way through the crowd. And I'm like, where are they going?
Yeah.
They've never been outside.
Yeah. Do they even know who they are? You know what I mean? Do they remember their parents? You know what I mean? Do they know where to go?
I'm like, and then you just said they're cannibals. So they probably don't know about any other kind of food. Where are they going to survive?
Yeah.
Does anybody care? But everybody's too concerned about the money that it's just like, it almost just goes, it's just like a full circle moment of like these kids have been abused and tortured and kept in a basement their whole lives. And now they're free. But these people that are trying to get free from the landlord, now that they have all this money, they pay no fucking mind to these like abused children.
Yeah, it's the first time I saw this, I'm like, oh, happy ending. But now this time I was like, you know what? It is bittersweet because yes, this whole movie has this message of everyone who's like upper middle class or lower should really band together against the rich people that have us by the balls. I mean, that's kind of seems to be one of the messages of this movie. Also, the kind of the house stands for this kind of metaphor of white rich capitalism holding down black people and other minorities, and it's a very hard thing to get out. And Alice tells Fool at one point, when he wants to escape, she's like, we'll go in here. He's like, I don't want to go in, I gotta go out. And she says, sometimes you gotta go in to go out, which I interpreted as like the classic idea, which I think is a good idea in some ways, but destroying the system from within. Mm-hmm. And, it's like, well, but then what happens is a lot of times they get recruited and kind of brainwashed into it. Now they're just like everybody else, then they see no problem with it once they're on the inside, So, or they just don't know what's happening, which is what's happening to Alice and the other lost boys, you could call them that, the people under the stairs, so they don't know how fucked up things are. They know their lives are horrible and fucked up, but they don't understand that these people who are fucking with them are also fucking the whole block over, the whole neighborhood, so the whole city. They said they own like 50 properties, right?
Yeah.
So there's so much you can read into that. And going back to what we said at the very beginning of this, Shandi and I, it's nice that people called us smart, but we're not smart enough to talk about this too in depth. You know what I mean? There's a point.
No, I mostly just wanted to talk about the shit that like has stayed with me since I was a kid. Mainly how fucking scary Mommy is.
Yes.
Mommy to me is the scariest character in this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
The shit that she fucking does to Alice has stayed with me. since I was 9 years old. And when this like certain scenes were coming up, I was like, oh God, no, I know what's about to happen. When Leroy's getting cut up downstairs and Fool's having to watch, Mom's got Alice to clean up Leroy's blood. Yeah. Her throwing her into the blood and slipping, and she's in that white nightgown, and she's just screaming at her to clean the blood up, and Alice is just crying. Like, that's not what fucks me up as much as the next scene, her throwing her in a scalding hot tub of water and scrubbing her with a fucking like a brush you would use to clean your floors.
Yeah.
And just like, can you, oh my God. She's like, clean yourself! Clean yourself! You know?
There's 2 scenes in this movie that were hard to watch, or 2 shots, basically. That.
So hard.
And then when Roach shows his cut tongue, I just went like out loud, like, oh, fuck! But,
I know. It looks so good.
Right, but not to take away what we were talking about, because I want to stay on that. But yes, that is really fucked up. And you're right, because the daddy is scary too, but it's in a more palatable, easy to understand way, because you're watching a horror movie, so it's not very surprising that someone in the horror movie is kind of a monster. And she's a monster too, but in this much more insidious way, where he's like running around screaming in a weird outfit killing people. Okay, we're good, we get it, you know. But she's like more like a real life,
she's evil,
horrible person. Yes, definitely
she's evil.
And she's torturing her daughter.
You know who she reminds me of, too, is the mom from Carrie.
I was literally about to say that. And do you know the other strange connection about that?
What?
Twin Peaks. The mom from Carrie is played by Piper Laurie, who played Catherine Martell.
Oh, my God, that's right.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
What the
I just
fuck?
had that thought while you were talking about that. Yeah.
Well, because also at the end, when she's got that big fucking knife...
yeah.
Reminds me of one of the last scenes in Carrie when she's got that big fucking knife going after her own fucking daughter. I mean, it's not really her daughter in this, but
right.
Oh my God. I love that she gets fucking eaten by the
she
children.
gets pulled apart.
It's awesome.
You know what is fun? What is cool too is that like these characters are awful, mommy and daddy, especially like I said, mommy, I agree, is worse. Like, she really gets her comeuppance in the end. She gets, like, she gets punched and hit in the face and stuff, and then, torn apart. And then Daddy gets hurt, like, so many times. And he always deserves it. He gets hit in the nuts a few times. He gets hit in the head with a brick. He gets a toilet tank lid hit in the face with, which, by the way, if you're ever in a situation where you're in a bathroom and you need to fight somebody, a toilet tank lid to me seems like a good real-life weapon. You know what I mean? Like, those things are fucking heavy.
I know I mentioned this before, that he sticks his head through a lot of holes. I should have counted how many times he sticks his head through something and goes and says something.
Right. And then gets hit in the face, because that happens a lot. He sticks his head through, I'm going to kill you. And then someone hits it with a brick or some shit. It happens a lot.
I forgot to mention that when we were talking about when the welfare check people came.
Yeah.
These people also got some balls. And like you said, they've probably... know exactly what to do and what to say, but that's like after he got hit in the head and he's got like the big bump. So while the cops are looking around, he's picking up like handcuffs and chains and shit and opens that side panel to put it inside, and then you see all his shit in there.
Yeah.
And then the cop is looking in Alice's room. He's standing right behind the cop. He moves his hat aside and like pats his wound.
Yeah.
And quickly puts it back. I'm like, these people have done this so many times that they're so blasé. I don't know if that's the right word I'm thinking of, but they just like have no fucking shame about who they are. They're just like, you know what? I know he's right there, but fuck it. Like,
yeah. I just Googled it. You're right. Blasé means unimpressed or indifferent. So yeah, that works here. And also, you know what it is like this same story. The story that happens in this movie has happened to these people many, many times with a different ending where they get the kid and kill him. You know what I mean? Because they also talk about, like, Alice, you see Alice with these little dolls. And then Fool's like, why do you have these little dolls? And she's like, well, they hold the souls of everybody. I can't remember how she puts it, but basically everybody that died, everyone that the mommy and daddy have killed, and not even necessarily the boys, the people under the stairs, but just people, cops, metermen, probably postmen, maybe actual Boy Scouts, whoever has shown up and then heard too much. She says they heard too much or saw too much, and so Mommy and Daddy killed them. And then she dumps out like a box of a lot of them. So
I know.
they've killed a lot of people, and this is just during the time that Alice has been alive. And she's probably only, 15 or something? So, F that, So they've killed a lot of people in a short amount of time.
Well, Fool picks up the 2 dolls that she made that are of Spencer and Leroy, and he's like, what the hell are these?
Yeah, and that's when she explains it.
What the fuck is this?
And she has one of Fool. There's one of Fool. Because she just assumed he was going to get his ass killed, and he didn't. Yeah, it's crazy. But it's weird, the Carrie thing, because also I feel like that is definitely they made that reference on purpose because, the knife thing, there's water involved, and she's in a white dress, and that's all from the end of Carrie. So, and then when you're just talking about how Daddy has his hole sticking through the wall, and you see him sticking through a door at one point too, well, there's another Stephen King film, The Shining. And so maybe that's referencing that, maybe, kind of interesting. I don't know what the purpose would be. Well, you know what? That's an evil dad and an evil mom. So maybe that's the purpose, if he did reference those. I'm just now making those connections right now. I think sometimes when people listen to this podcast, because we started in the afternoon, lately, we finally figured out the best time to do it. So we'll eat lunch, record it on a Sunday afternoon. And so right now, which is about 2:30 my time, 3:30 your time, the listener can probably hear our brains turn on. It's like we've been talking about the movie for an hour and a half. Okay, now I understand things. So,
well, sometimes it takes me talking to you, for things to click in my brain, because you'll say something, and it'll either remind me that that's what I wanted to mention, and I just for some reason didn't write it down as a note, or I go, oh shit.
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Right. And I've done the same thing 10 times in this episode to you. Where I'm like, oh shit, that's a good point. You know what I mean? And it helps that you, like I said, I've only seen this movie twice as an adult within the last year. That's it. And you've watched it a billion times for, shit, man, 35 years or 34 years because you just turned 43. So there you go. But this is a great movie, and I like the way we've talked about it.
Do you know what we didn't mention at all, though?
Yeah, we can still talk. What?
We didn't talk about Prince, the dog.
Yeah.
And how many dogs these people have probably owned. And because there's that shot when Fool goes into the wall for the first time, you see all these dog beds and dog collars and bones. I was like, oh my God.
Because there's a bed that says Prince, but there's probably, I didn't think about that, because I always just thought when he finds all the collars that those are Daddy's collars, because he wears all the bondage shit. But you're probably right, because when Prince does die, Fool Fool doesn't even kill him, but Fool is clever. Fool is not one. And so when Daddy is stabbing, what has he got, a bayonet or a knife or something, right? And he's
he's got a
sword,
fucking
basically.
Bayonet. What the fuck?
And he's stabbing it through the wall and thinks he kills Fool. And for a second, the viewer is meant to think he killed Fool. But no, turns out he stabbed their dog Prince, who, the whole thing is so crazy they have all these little doors and stuff to let Prince run around in the walls to chase people. And it's just another example of how they've been doing this for fucking ever.
The whole fucking thing of Daddy hunting, when Alice is like, Daddy's hunting Roach.
Yeah. And I think, with the room we mentioned a little bit ago with the candles and all the pictures of the kidnapped children and stuff, and then the fact that they're always talking about burn in hell, there is kind of this inference that they are Christian fanatics. And the fact they're an old family, that all plays into that. They're religious, and so they use that as a shield to let them do whatever they want. Because obviously, like we said, Jesus would not be down with these people. He would not like anything that they do. And if he saw that money, he'd go fucking apeshit. He hated money, So, or maybe he didn't hate money, but he hated it, the combination of money and religion.
Hoarding money and
Well, and any comment, I mean, one of the famous, oh, yeah, you literally said at the beginning of this, you didn't really get Bible stories as a kid. Okay, well, one of the most famous stories about Jesus is when he was an adult, he went to a temple, and they had a market set up in there, and he flipped out and flipped all the tables and kicked him out. And that's because he's like, this is a place of worship. Money does not belong in here. Capitalism does not belong in here. And obviously, that's been completely fucked in the ass, especially in the last 50 years, where you got mega churches and stuff. But yeah, Jesus would see these people talking about they don't want to burn in hell, and then he'd see their money, their giant hoarded collection of coins, be like, oh, fuck these people,
Fucking.
He probably said fuck Jesus.
He definitely probably fucking cussed.
He's like, what the fuck? Oh my God, I want to see a Jesus movie where he swears. And he just sees the Romans torturing some Jews. He's like, oh, good fucking Christ, whatever. I meant with these Romans torturing the Jews. Good God.
I mean, it would be funny if in the Life of Brian, do they cuss in Life of Brian? In Monty Python?
Maybe, probably. Monty Python. Well, first of all, those movies were made a long time ago, and so swearing wasn't quite as accepted. But
right.
And plus, they came from a TV background where you couldn't do it at all. And
yeah,
there's this restraint they have that whitest kids never had to do, nor would we be able to practice it anyways. I did this podcast yesterday, and I started swearing. I'm like, can I swear on this? I don't even know. They're like, yeah, try not to. I'm like, oh, shit, okay. Because ours, I mean, yeah.
Oh, shit. When they told you try not to, you just immediately cussed.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But there's times when I'm editing our podcast, and I'm like, good God, we swear a lot. It's funny. Anyways, but yeah, I'm sure he did. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think so. But they did know how to deploy the odd swear word very well, so I'm sure it shows up a little bit, but probably not a ton.
Oh man.
But yeah, he would not be. But yeah, there's a religious fanaticism, obviously some possible inbreeding sort of stuff. Because even if they're really brother and sister, even if they're not fucking, clearly there's been some sort of shenanigans with breeding happening in this family line at some point. And, because that's another thing people use fanatical Christianity for, is to cover up pedophilia or inbreeding or whatever, sexual deviancy or whatever. So,
or what I was seeing yesterday is somebody was posting this video on TikTok of this photo, a black and white photo of a little girl and a grown man, and she's like, "Tell me who you think these people are." Father and daughter? No. Husband and wife. 9-year-old girl, bride. And then the last comment this person said was, isn't it interesting that a child bride was normal and still very, very small children can legally still be married in this country in some states?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
But there aren't any child husbands.
Right.
Tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, we're a bunch of, it's a pedophiliac patriarchy. You've done modeling and stuff, and, we've all seen naked women and things, and what's a big thing? No hair. No pubes, no armpit hair, no legs. Why? It's smooth like children. So it's fucked up. Because I'm sure you probably had to shave all sorts of things when you did some of those shoots, right? I bet you did.
Yeah, and I've had boyfriends in the past that were like, you got to be shaven down there, and you can't have hair on your legs. Fuck? And I'd be like, no.
Yo.
No.
Every woman I've been with, relationships or just hooked up with or whatever, whenever it came up, they're like, even if they're like, sorry, I didn't shave my armpits, I'd be like, I don't care. You're a person. It's like, yo, I like your boobs and your butt. I don't care if there's hair in other places. Let me touch you.
You know how much time I've saved in my adult life not shaving my armpits and my fucking legs?
I bet.
And my fucking cooch. Right. I'll trim my cooch hairs, but that's just a personal preference thing.
Yeah.
But I haven't shaved my legs or my armpits in over a decade, and who cares? Never going to again.
Right. It's such an arbitrary thing. And like I said, there's probably a strange basis for that tradition in pedophilia anyways, but it's also very arbitrary. Like I've mentioned on this podcast before, I'm pretty sure, but it's like, okay, some people need to these people need to shave their legs and armpits. These people don't. Also, wearing a piece of fabric wrapped around your neck with a knot in it is fancier than not wearing a piece of fabric wrapped around your neck with a knot in it. It's like, what? You know,
What?
somebody just decided all this bullshit. Anyways, yeah, but yeah, so a lot of creepiness going on. So guns in horror movies. Okay, a lot of times I don't find guns very scary. It's always scary to me when the bad guy, he's going to kill you with his bare hands is scary. But, you know, obviously I think the most traditional weapons in a horror movie are sharp, you know, an axe or a knife or something like that. Guns, just because of the impersonality of guns, because you can shoot them from far away, right? Guns are kind of impersonal, and so it's scary to think about someone right in your face stabbing you and watching you die, right? But in this movie, they make the guns scary because, like, the one reason is what you said, is they're shooting all over the place. It could hit anybody. So he's just so, the guy's so crazy and such a maniac that he doesn't care if he hits anybody, even if it's his sister or whatever, you know?
Well, just him saying he's hunting a child.
Yeah, fucking creepy. And just the way the guns are used. And the fact that they're in this, like, kind of old house in this pretty normal looking idyllic kind of neighborhood. Maybe not idyllic, but like it's a nice normal neighborhood. And then they have all these high tech weapons because he doesn't just have hunting weapons. He's got a pistol and some, you know when you argue about guns with people, and they're like, well, nobody knows about, like, you know, they like to pretend that knowing about a gun somehow makes them right, that we don't need gun control. So I don't want to sound like one of those guys. However, the pistol the first thing he uses, which he shoots Ving Rhames with, is like a pistol with a laser sight on it. And then he has a combat shotgun. That is not a hunting shotgun. That's like for SWAT team assault kind of shit. And he has a couple weapons like that, like with the pump stocks and all this kind of stuff that is for killing people. And so, you know, it is scarier in this instance because it's like, there's only one reason why these guys have this shit, and of course it's all hidden. Why do you think they're hiding it? You know, so because he has multiple gun hiding spots, not just that closet thing, but towards the end he goes into a desk and like taps something on the desk, and a huge fucking shotgun falls out of it. You know, so it's so yeah. I just this movie kind of makes guns scary, which I thought was cool because it doesn't often happen.
And also the other thing I forgot to mention with Prince the dog is just how well they treat Prince and how much they care about him.
Yeah, good point.
And the juxtaposition of them to how they treat all the children, even though they are trying to find the perfect child. It's like you already have it. It's a dog, Prince.
Yeah, that's who you care about.
Now move along. But I love how, well, you already said like kind of how smart Fool is when they're trying to get away from the fucking dog, which they have to a few times, is they also have this house rigged up with electricity. Because he tries to get out the front door. It shocks the shit out of Fool. But then he's so smart that he goes, all right, this is how we're going to get away from this dog. I'm going to fucking grab the handle, grab Leroy, and Leroy's going to hold on to the dog, and we're just going to let the electricity flow through us.
Well, the dog's holding on to Leroy with his teeth and tongue.
With his teeth.
on the Leroy's leg. So, yeah, he's just... But yeah, he grabs it. Yeah, I wrote that down too to mention. I didn't, so I'm glad you did. But yeah, it's an awesome thing. It's like, yeah, it's such a cool. And at first I wrote kill because I forgot that Prince doesn't die there. He dies much later. But
yeah, but they're so upset. They're like, oh, Prince, oh my god. But then it's like, look how they fucking treat Alice.
Yeah, and then they fucking kill this guy right after that too. You know, it's like that's crazy. Some of the other things I wanted to mention are not serious. I wanted to say that Wendy Roby, the actress playing Mommy, her eyebrows are what the kids would call on fleek, right?
Man, and her hair. Her hair looks so
his
fucking
hair is cool. But I think the her eyebrows are drawn in possibly 100%, you know? They look drawn in all the way. Maybe she has real eyebrows under there somewhere. But also, and two other quick points. There's a part where... okay, Roach is fighting off Daddy at some point, and Roach sticks 2 of his fingers in Daddy's nostrils, right? Is that who does that? I'm trying to remember who does it to who.
Oh, so they're going down the chimney. Roach sticks his fingers in Mom's nostrils.
Yeah, that's right, Mom's nostrils.
And she goes, what does she say?
I don't remember.
She goes, caca!
Oh.
And it's fucking racist as shit.
That word is?
Because she had a brown boy's fingers in her nose.
So Roach doesn't do it, so Fool does it.
Fool does it.
Okay, you said Roach earlier, and I got confused because I thought. Okay,
sorry.
So that's okay. So Fool sticks his fingers in Mommy's nose. Okay, great. So.
And then she says caca, like she had poop fingers in her nose.
Wow, fucked up.
Yep.
I didn't even catch that, but
Fucked up.
Nostril violence always gets me. It's just like, oh, this just seems, very uncomfortable.
Violence. That'd be a good name for a metal band.
Hell yeah, we are. Or nasal violence. Was maybe even better. But so there's a theory I have about movies, and I don't know if I mentioned it before on this show, but it particularly applies to 80s movies and early 90s, because a lot of early 90s stuff is still made with kind of an 80s style or aesthetic. You can always tell a good movie because they have a scene where somebody slides through a tube. And there's a lot of that in this movie. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a literal tube, but like sliding through some sort of passage. And there's a lot of sliding through passages in this movie, so it's fun. And, the chimney, the staircase, there's other ducts and stuff that people fall out of, so there's a lot
Prince
of it.
Slides through into the kitchen.
That's when I wrote it down. It was for that one. You know what? There's not this movie's very entertaining, but it's not necessarily funny. It's pretty scary and creepy the whole time. But that part's fucking hilarious when they somehow trick Prince. Prince the dog is chasing the kids through the wall in the areas between the walls. And they somehow trick him up. There's traps everywhere, so they somehow trick him, pull the thing, and it's a trap door. And so Prince slides out this thing, and he slides out into the kitchen when Mommy and Daddy are in there. And he's on some little tray thing too. So it just slides all the way out. It's so fucking funny. Just visually, it's great. I love that part. But yeah, when you think about it, there's so many movies that are great where somebody slides through a tube. So I'm not saying only movies with someone falling through a tube are good, because there's plenty of movies that are good that do not have that. However, if a movie has a scene where somebody's sliding through a tube, it's probably a great movie. I don't like Goonies. Besides that, I can't really think of any other. Oh my God!
I was just gonna go, but not Goonies, because Timmy hates that movie.
Timmy fucking hates Goonies. But Goonies is just Indiana Jones, but annoying. So plenty. There's Indiana Jones movies where they slide through too.
But that's why I like doing this podcast with you, because I love Goonies. I love that movie so much. That was another childhood favorite of mine.
So you like doing this podcast because I don't like it? That's the only reason.
Because we have different.
Right. Yeah.
You just because you don't. I actually like that you don't like it.
Yeah, I was just kidding, because you said that's why I like this podcast, because you don't like Goonies. I was like, that's the reason you like this podcast. It's funny, but no,
it's
you're
nice
right.
To talk with somebody that has different opinions.
Well, yeah, that's what. Yeah, no, absolutely, and we, it's like what we said earlier is we got, we got some different ideas about what the, picking up on different things in the movie, which is great, so that's very good. I think I talked about, I think we had a good talk about this movie. What do you think?
I think so too, man. What a great fucking film.
Dude, People Under the Stairs rules. Wes Craven rules. When I was Googling this earlier, I happened upon, I don't like to color any opinions about things, especially right before I watch a movie, but I did just Googling the cast or something, happened upon just the headline of an article that said it's underrated and probably one of his best movies. And I haven't seen actually a ton of his films, but yeah,
This is definitely, I have such a soft spot in my heart for Freddy Krueger.
Right.
Not a soft spot. He terrified me my entire childhood. Gave me nightmares.
Right.
But I actually think this movie, The People Under Stairs, I like it better than the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's really, really good. And, like I said, I've only seen it twice. I'm sure it's going to continue to grow on me. And, you said you watched this as a 9-year-old. This is, I think, probably a very good first horror movie or early horror movie. Because there's a kid, and it's scary, but there's not like, and it's pretty fucked up, but not like in a way that would be bad for a kid to see, Like when I show my daughter Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, which is really, really fucking heavy. That's like, should a kid watch this? And she's okay, but still, but this is like a good one for that, I think, because it's like still kind of a fun, crazy thing, but it's also like really messed up sometimes. But here's the thing about Wes Craven's filmography, too, is I haven't seen very many of his movies, but I think about the movies I've seen. Hills Have Eyes, Stone Cold Classic. Nightmare on Elm Street, Stone Cold Classic. What other ones? People Under the Stairs, of course. New Nightmare, Scream. It's like Scream 2. These are all fucking like accepted by pretty much all horror fans, all fucking classics.
He's a motherfucking legend.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of bullshit in between. He's done some pretty shitty movies too, supposedly. But I've seen Part of Deadly Blessing, but didn't make it. I ended up getting distracted or something, didn't finish it. That's the Amish one, I think. Then there's Deadly Friend, which is about a robot. I haven't seen that. I've never seen Serpent in the Rainbow. Have you seen that?
I don't think I've seen that either.
That's I think Bill Pullman, and it's like about Haitian voodoo stuff.
Oh.
Then there's Shocker, which I've always wanted to see. That's Mitch Pileggi as he's like an inmate, death row inmate getting electrocuted. Then he comes back somehow to get revenge.
There's The Last House on the Left, which, I don't think you haven't seen that, have you?
I haven't seen that. No.
Dude, we got to watch that.
We'll watch that sometime?
At some
Okay,
point. Cool. He also did Swamp Thing.
Right. Yeah. Is that the one with Heather Locklear? No, she's in the sequel. Oh, this one's Adrienne Barbeau. Ooh la la. Not that Heather Locklear is an ooh la la as well. Adrienne Barbeau, they're both ooh la la. Good job, girls.
What's Vampire in Brooklyn? Oh, that's the Eddie Murphy.
Oh, dude, Eddie Murphy one. Yeah, see, he made some. And then you got Music of the Heart, which is not a horror movie.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, dude, he's made some. But the thing is every choice, every movie, when you look at his filmography, every movie is like, oh, that's interesting, even if it probably sucks. So good. That's a good way to be.
God, that's so funny.
Yeah. So, People Under the Stairs is good. Goodbye. But sequel. If they had done a sequel, do you think Daddy's dead? We last seen him falling into that pit.
Yeah, water. I mean, he's face down in the pit, but I went, he's not fucking dead. He's not really dead. And he's going to come back and avenge his sister. His
sister mom wife boss?
Yeah. A sequel would be that like Fool and Alice are married and
have an adorable baby, because mixed race couple is having a baby as a cheat code.
Yeah.
It's a cheat code. So that's how you have adorable babies.
Yeah, they have really, really...
I have an Asian cousin, and my Asian cousin and her African husband just had a baby like 2 days ago. And you can just, I don't know, mixed race babies, cheat code. They're always cuter. Don't know how. Anyways.
They're always adorable.
That's why that's why I never understand racism. I'm like, I think everybody should get together because the babies get cuter. And isn't that what we want? Is cute babies. Babies are great. Come on.
Because usually just white babies look like little old men when they come out.
Yeah, they're like on the bottom of cute babies. Really, because, I don't know. Whatever.
Right, so Alice and Fool would be married, have a little baby, and maybe they're landlords or something, but they're like good landlords, or they own some kind of business where like Alice does something outdoors. Like now she does everything outdoors since she was so cooped up all the time.
Like she's
maybe
a gardener,
they own a cabin in the woods, or maybe they're like at a cabin in the woods or something.
Right.
And Daddy comes back and like fucking stalks them and shit.
Sure. That's a good idea.
That'd be fun.
Well, and it'd be interesting because, so, there's...
But he's not Daddy, he's Grandpa.
Right, now he's Gramps or something fucked up. So, there's that, I forget which town in Kansas, in like the 1910s or something. There was a town in Kansas that had an affluent black neighborhood, and these were black people owning their own businesses and everything, and they were doing great, right, as a community. And then there was a horrible firebombing that killed hundreds of them. And of course, it was like racist white people that did it. You know about that? I forget. It actually became more well known because of that HBO Watchmen series was about it, sort of. So, anyways, so I think about that. And then I think about this idea, which is great, of Fool and his wife, Alice, having some successful business. And Daddy comes back, yes, for revenge, but also because he's a racist prick and he doesn't like to see black people doing well. You know, so he'd probably have other people with him that think the same thing. You know what I mean? So
I would also not mind a prequel.
That could be interesting.
I would have liked to have seen, like, if they are brother and sister, to see their parents. Yeah. And like them owning the funeral home and have something kind of go around, like, instead of putting the kids in the basement, they're like embalming the kids or like some weird ass shit. Man. And like making them into dolls or some strange fucking thing. Yeah.
No, I like that. They're more directly involved in the funeral stuff because that's what they used to do. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And Wes Craven, of course, sadly has been dead for a long time now, so someone else probably would control the rights. But I don't think he was super sold on sequels. Like, he wasn't really into doing a bunch of sequels to Nightmare on Elm Street until he had a really good idea. And then when he did get involved in a franchise where he made a bunch of sequels, it was kind of as a meta commentary, and he didn't create that. You know, that was the Scream movies are written by a different guy. So, you know, but yeah, so maybe he would have been into it. You know, I suppose he was just one of those people that he would have to have a really good idea.
Yeah.
That he loved a lot. And I think that's, you know, and that's the kind of person you want making movies, you know? You don't want someone just cashed a fucking check. Who needs 3 Night at the Museum movies? You know what I mean? Why did I think about that one? I don't know. Sorry, Ben Stiller. But, you know, like, you seem like a good dude, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways. But this is a good choice.
Yeah, I think so.
So now we're going to do high school movies. You are talking about doing the original Prom Night? Is that what you want to do?
Yes, because I've never seen it.
Oh, right. You haven't seen it. Okay.
I heard it's good.
Oh, it is. It's very good. So I haven't settled on one yet. However, we should, in my opinion, we should do a newer movie because we haven't really done that much. Have you ever seen Unfriended?
No.
Dude, Unfriended is actually, I think, fucking awesome.
All right.
I've only seen it once, but I really did enjoy it. I think Unfriended is a good choice. And you know what? Cool. We don't see a lot of Unfriended. I would still count as newer because it's only 11 years old. And when you become old, as we both are, the time frame in which you think something is new gets bigger as you become old. So like, I think any band that started after like 2002 is new music. Even though kids are born in 2002 are almost old enough to rent a camper, but and can drink. But, you know, so Unfriended still seems of the newer ilk of horror movies, you know, a little flashier, maybe a little more sassy dialogue, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it's fun, and it's probably pretty short. Oh yeah, it's definitely short. So there you go. Yeah, that's a good choice. That's a good choice. Good job, Timmy. Thank you. You're welcome.
You thanked yourself.
Fuck yeah. You know what? You gotta love yourself, right?
Thank you. You're welcome.
When just a few minutes ago, I said something that was almost sounded advice-like. What was it? What were you talking about? I can't remember what it was about. But when I finished saying it, I wanted to go, thank you. Take care of yourselves and each other, which is how Jerry Springer ended every episode of the Jerry Springer Show. Should we start doing that? Take care of yourselves and each other. Okay, so let's be done now? Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, we're done. Do you want to do the socials? Do the socials.
If you would like to follow us, we are on social media. We're old, but we still kind of know how to do that. You can follow us on Instagram at earnfullofpopcorn. That's URNFULLA popcorn. You can also go to our website, earnfullofpopcorn.com. You can listen to the episodes there on Spotify, on Apple. We also have a YouTube page, which is Earn Full of Popcorn Podcast. Please follow, comment. People have been commenting a lot this week on YouTube. So shout out to the person that called you Tammy instead of Timmy. That made me laugh. I'm sure it was just typo, but it was still funny when I saw it. But
I call myself Tammy sometimes.
Do you?
So, like, as a joke and stuff, you know? Like sometimes I'll make a post and be like, "Hi, this is Tammy Wilson" or whatever, you know. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, but it was.
But yeah, it could be a typo, but either way, it's good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for everyone that takes the time to like follow on, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow on Spotify and Apple, and make comments because they make my day. So.
And thank you to everybody who's been mailing me really big checks just for having this. You get those too, right, Shandi? People are sending you tons of money.
You're getting fucking paid.
What? Oh shit!
You better send me some money. I'm gonna fucking dad in this movie. I'm gonna find you.
Yeah, God, dude, he is so fucking good in this movie. I mean, they both are, funny. But it's just so. Anyways, okay, well, cool. Well, hey, thank you to Jordan Cooper for writing the theme song. Thank you to Steve Ward from Canada for designing the logo, and just for being from a better country. Thanks, buddy. Thank you to Shandi.
Thanks, Timmy.
Thank you to me. Thank you. Thank you, Timmy.
Thanks, Tammy.
Thank you. Thank you to Timmy and Tammy. Thank you to Timmy. Thank you for saying thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome too. Thanks, buddy. I'm gonna kill you!